All in the Family, by Kaz Regelman. There's a saying in English that you can't choose your family. But with an ancient and enduring Hawaiian tradition called Hanai, sometimes you can. Hanai is, loosely speaking, the Hawaiian word for adoption, but its meaning is less rigid than its Western equivalent. For one thing, Hanai children know their biological families and usually keep close ties to them. In fact, in most cases, babies are placed in homes with blood relatives. In pre-contact Hawaii, paternal grandparents had an indisputable claim on the firstborn boy, maternal grandparents on the firstborn girl. This was a practical arrangement, since Hanai was an efficient way for a preliterate society to pass knowledge and culture down the generations. Still is. When Hokulani Holt was born, she was taken directly from the hospital to live with her mother's parents in Waiahu. My grandparents asked for me, she says. They went 3 times to the hospital, till finally my father said yes. Her grandparents, who had raised 15 children of their own, missed having youngsters in the house, and took in not just Hokulani, but also several other cousins. An esteemed Kumu hula teacher, Hokulani believes her Hanai upbringing absolutely contributed to her path. My grandma, a Kumu hula, was pure Hawaiian, and my grandpa was half and they spoke Hawaiian. It was a country lifestyle, with Hawaiian cultural practices around me all the time. So it's not that she taught me in the Western sense. It's that she lived it and I learned. She laments that there seems to be less Hanai nowadays, as Hawaiians increasingly perceive it as giving away your children. During the 19th century, missionaries were reported to have looked with disdain upon the custom, comparing the practice to doling out puppies. But those involved in Hanai, both traditionally and today, never saw it as giving away, but rather as sharing. The family didn't get smaller, it expanded. Hokulani says that she was the common bond that strengthened the relationship between her birth mother and her grandparents. They kept in touch much more than they would have otherwise. From kings to farmers, from ancient history into present day, Hanai has been not just a way for childless couples to raise children, but also for family borders to shift and undulate, encompassing more than the modern nuclear family. Historically, Hanai was also used for political purposes, linking ruling families. Perhaps the most famous example was King Kalakaua, given in Hana to Hai Chiefess Haho Kaniu. Liliuokalani, Hawaii's last monarch, was the Hanai child of chiefs higher ranking than her biological parents. In her autobiography, Hawaii's Story by Hawaii's Queen, she wrote that Hanai seems perfectly natural to us. This alliance by adoption cemented the ties of friendship between the chiefs. It spread to the common people, and it has doubtless fostered a community of interest and harmony. As a strategy, Hanai had an advantage over alliances forged through marriage. While it's not uncommon to have conflict with parents-in-law, another enduring tradition, people are less likely to wage war against their own parents, either biological or adoptive. Hanai was considered binding and for life. In the ancient tradition, when the baby was handed over, the biological parents would say, "Now kukeki, kuki anao. Yours is the child, excreta, intestines and all." Hanai children were loved and doted upon no differently than biological children. When Kahumanu, favorite queen consort of Kamehameha I, died in 1832, she bequeathed her substantial landholdings to her Hanai daughter Ruth Kualakalani, who, largely based on this inheritance, became the wealthiest woman in the islands, owning almost 9% of the total lands of Hawaii. There are countless modern examples of Hanai from key figures in Hawaiian society, such as famed linguist Calico Beamer-Trapp, Hanai, son of Auntie Nona Beamer, champion of traditional Hawaiian culture, to everyday people with huge hearts and huge Hanai families to match. The late Harold Lean and Sam Kalalaiki, for example, had at one point around 25 biological, Hanai, and temporarily visiting children in their home, so many that they took numbers to shower. When Sam passed away in 2015, his obituary illustrated the bonds of Hanai, stating he was survived by daughters with 2 different maiden names and sons with 3 different family names. One of those sons, Kalehua Belato, has traced 4 generations of blood and non-blood relatives moving in and out of their house. As an adult, Kalehua fostered 3 children. Decades later they are still close. I raised them in the tradition of Hanai. They know I love them, and my Hawaiian family recognizes them as family too. In his article Hawaiian Family System of Hana, Maui, 1957, published in the Journal of the Polynesian Society, John Forster reports on a study of 73 households in that rural East Maui community. 17 of them contained a total of 31 Hanai children, 3 adopted under U.S. law, and 8 who were ho'okama, a variant of Hanai in which children past babyhood, and even adults, are made part of the family. The term ho'okama, practically lost today, was used into the early missionary era to describe these relationships, sometimes instigated at the child's request, sometimes at the parents', and sometimes just as a natural evolution of affection.